What's up, beautiful human? So today we're going to be doing something a little bit different. It's not necessarily a film or show like I normally do, but it's actually a book. So today we'll be reviewing The President's Daughter, written by Bill Clinton and James Patterson. Now, when I first heard that this book was coming out, I was kind of stunned because, I don't know about you guys, but James Patterson has been one of my favorite thriller writers, mystery, detective writers of all time. I have absolutely loved his Alex Cross series, his Michael Bennett series. Fantastic books altogether, and thrillers that really are page turners. So James Patterson has always been one of my favorites, and when I heard he was teaming up with Bill Clinton, our former president, it could only be good. And my hunches were right. So The President's Daughter follows the story of Matthew Keating, who is an ex-president, and I would even go as far as to say disgraced ex-president, even though, it is the natural order of things. But essentially, when he ran for his second term in office, he was beaten by his own vice president, right? So even though that's the natural order of things, it's an election, fair and square, whoever wins kind of deal, he feels disgraced because he got dethroned by his own vice president. Now the story picks up when Matthew leaves the office and he's living on his own with his daughter Mel Keating. One day, however, a very dangerous and notorious terrorist kidnaps Mel as a sort of revenge plot against the death of the terrorist's wife and children, which were supposedly caused by the president. It's very precarious when the United States is dealing with political affairs because, what we might think is right from an American standpoint might not actually be right from the standpoint of people who live overseas. In a raid way back when, which the US was involved in, an explosion occurred which killed the wife and daughter of this terrorist. And now the terrorist is out for revenge against Matthew Keating, whom he blames for that explosion. So he kidnaps Mel, and the story revolves around how Matthew deals with that, how the presidency deals with that, and it is riveting. The book is a bit of a thickie. The book has around 600 total pages, 594 to be exact, and even though it is a quick read because it's a thriller that keeps you hooked and keeps you magnetized to the plot and to what's going on, it is still a bit of a longer read than most books. A couple of key standpoints as to why you should check out this book over other thrillers per se, because this plot isn't necessarily very novel or unique or insanely different, like, for example, Ready Player One, or, books that kind of stretch the boundaries of reality and test the waters as to, what exactly a plot can be. This book relatively keeps it safe. We've seen political thrillers surrounding, presidencies and kidnapped daughters and stuff like that many times before, in film, in shows, and in books as well. But what makes this book so special and so unique is the fact that it is written by a former president. And because of that, we get some really unique and awesome insights into what it is to be a president and the experience of a president. More importantly, we get insights into what it is to be an ex-president. Insights that are really engaging, really unique, and things that you wouldn't think about, but are actually very interesting to learn about. The book also does a fantastic job of remaining very realistic. In a lot of the movies and shows we've watched in the past about a similar topic, there's an element of fantasy involved. But in this book, it's very much grounded in reality, and everything that occurs is believable at the end of the day. And I think that adds even more engaging level to this book, which makes it even more fun and even more worthy of picking up. Now, James Patterson has been a fantastic thriller writer. So there's a real focus in this book about setting the scene and making sure you fully understand what is going on, what everything looks like, what are the thought processes behind the characters that are doing what they're doing, what is the motivation behind the characters. So in that sense, the book feels like a movie when you're reading it. It's very visceral, very beautifully created, very descriptive. So expect that level of intricacy when you're reading this book. I would highly recommend The President's Daughter to any fans of thrillers, political thrillers, anyone who wants to get a little bit of glimpse into the experience of an ex-president, but more so the experience of an ex-president when they're put in such a tough position. Also, people who are fans of books about fatherhood. There are really fantastic insights into what it means to be a father, and especially what it means to be a father when you're put in such a tough position like Matthew is. You know, if you're fans of military thrillers, you'll also find something to love in this book. All in all, I highly recommend President's Daughter to pretty much anyone, but specifically people who can handle a little bit of extra violence. There is language, but if you're an adult reader, then this should be no worry whatsoever. I rate this book 3 out of 4, as in worth picking up if you have the chance. It's a really fantastic read, and even though it's a little bit lengthy, it's a pretty quick read altogether. All in all, let me know in the comments below if you have read The President's Daughter. If you haven't, if you have any questions about it, I'd love to answer them in the comments below. And until next time, I'll catch y'all later.